you mentioned something about methods of worship.
Correct.
Very crucial to talk about this because this is something that modern day Hindus mostly don't understand.
Yes.
And often there's clashes between different sects of Hindus over methods of worship, as is the case with any world religion. There's different sects, and there are issues between the sects. So let's talk about this modern day manifestation of different Hindus misunderstanding each other, but also let's talk about methods of worship in general.
Right. So that's correct. So there are different sects within. So instead of the word sect, the word we use is sampradaya. Sampradaya is a method of worship, okay, or a particular somebody connected to a deity or followers of a deity. Let's put it this way: upasakas of a deity. Okay, inside the sampradaya, there may be even more sub sampradayas. For example, Vaishnavism is worship of Vishnu. There could be many sampradayas inside Vaishnavism. Sri Vaishnavism is there. Then there's a Dvaita Vaishnavism is there. Then there is the Hare Krishna sect, the ISKCON followers are there. So there could be, then there'll be slight differences in the way they approach them. The gurus will be very different. The methods may be different. But what ties all these things together? First thing has to be understood is that Hinduism is not a religion of one book; it's a religion of multiple books. Okay, the Shastras that we call the holy texts, they govern the fundamentals of worship. They govern the fundamentals of. There are two aspects, both lifestyle as well as worship. So far as the fundamentals of worship are concerned, they are very categorically mentioned how to do this and how to do that and this and that, and we have to follow those. Okay, there is no sampradaya or kind of a sect of believers of a particular god or a deity within Hindu dharma who would survive the test of time if they don't adhere to the rules mentioned in the texts related to that deity. It is very, very important. So when sampradayas come into, there are sampradayas that have historically come into existence, for example, different times. So they have to pass through a phase where they have to prove to the others, for example. And we had a very healthy debate of criticism, counter criticisms, answers, debates, at least till the 13th century. There is to be very fierce, what used to be called the Shastrartha, which is that, debates basically between different sampradayas, each one claiming that our methodology of worship or the way we do it or our philosophy is stronger than yours. So there's no physical violence, but there is absolutely free reign to debates, points, counterpoints. And it is through this churning process that many philosophies became more refined. So there is a complete culture of, agreement and disagreement. There's nothing wrong in that. And it is mandatory on the followers or the intellectual followers of a certain sect to defend their path, defend their methodology of worship in the light of the Shastras. Shastra is the holy text. For example, let's say that if you're worshipping Vishnu, then you might have to you follow the Vishnu Purana or the Bhagavad Purana, and then you from there are other texts also like this. Or if you're going to the Tantra, then there are the vast array of the tantras, and you choose that, okay, what we are doing is based on XYZ tantra, the dictums that are mentioned in this text, etc. So that the textual, it's like that peg where you tie your philosophy. That's very important. Broadly speaking, there are two fundamental paths of philosophical paths of worship. One is the Vedika. Vedika means it's not just the four Vedas, but there are the Veda Samhitas are there, the Brahmanas are there, Aranyakas are there, and then the Upanishads. Upanishads are the philosophical part of the Vedas, where the Vedas are more the ritualistic path. Rituals are a method of communication, basically, because the deity is very vast, is infinitely powerful, grander, vaster, eternal compared to an average human being. So these rituals were devised by the rishis so that you have a meaningful way of communicating with that energy.
Yeah, this is the point where a lot of people all over the world start to disconnect with these kind of conversations because the question that arises in a listener's mind is, hey, why should I be doing this religious practice?
Yeah.
And truth be told, how does one explain ritualistic practice to the average person? My only explanation is until you experience it yourself
Yeah.
after having an educated guidance through the process,
Hmm.
that's when you'll be convinced.
Right.
But most people are not even willing to physically put their bodies through that kind of a practice.
Yeah, so I agree to that, but on the other hand, I believe that rituals are very powerful. I mean, not just religion. Every time there is a ritual, everywhere in a human being's life, there are always rituals. Rituals are methods by which you align yourself to a particular space and time and an energy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the reason I'm bringing this up so much is because I've been in countless rooms where if I'm trying to explain this aspect of Sanatan Dharma, I am stopped by someone else saying, no, you know what, bro, this is where I switch off. But the only answer I have is, hey, experience it yourself. If you feel that way after a month of performing a ritual regularly, then we'll revisit this conversation.
My only take in this is that, so one, first of all, our dharma, Sanatan Dharma, had never been a religion that preaches. So we have not had, we don't normally, broadly speaking, for most of the places, we don't like go ahead and say ki, you should follow this, you should follow my god or this or that. So I am not, if you don't want to follow it, absolutely fine, there's no compulsion. But if you want to follow it, you have to do it this way. It's like this. um, Suppose you are in school. Suppose there's to give you another example, suppose there's a child, he goes to school, and in fact when you start following rituals, the other thing that happens is that people say that I need to understand every step. No, you will not understand every step on day one. When a child goes to class 1, he is told that you learn the tables, you learn multiplication, division. He can ask a question, what good is this for me? Why is he doing it? His parents have told him, his teacher has told him, right? It's only when he grows to a certain age and he interacts with the world outside that he sees that these are things very useful that he had learned at a younger age. Exactly same way rituals work.
This prayer ritual that we call puja, this is what you see in every Hindu household that practices Hinduism.
Right.
And as a kid, when you're growing up in a Hindu household, you will have a moment where you'll ask your parents, your relatives, hey, why are we doing this? And often there's no answer. The answer that you get is, this is just how it's done. At age 29, when I met you for the first time, I understood what a puja means, what a havan means. I think that that's the question that the world has when it comes to Hinduism as well. Why do we do these kind of rituals? And why are there so many rituals? Why are there so many holidays in India?
So many holidays, though, is a different question. But the rituals are designed at a very sound philosophical base. So it is not random. That's what I first said, that everything that we do comes from the rishis. They have codified it in the Shastras. Shastras are eternal. They have a power within them, a Shakti within them, by which they have survived and they will always survive. Okay. Specifically, those aspects of the Shastras that deal with the methodology of worship. How do you worship a deity? How do you worship this deity? There are two kinds of evidences, pramana, that you can get from the world. One is that which you get from your five senses. One you can get from inference, observation, and this and that. And then there is a third thing, something that comes from the astral and the occult realms, realms which you cannot see, hear, feel, touch, but those exist. And that is an element where initially for an average upasaka, you will not understand because you have no experience of it, but you'll have to take it on faith. That shraddha, that faith is also an important part of any religious, of dharmic practice, religious practice, etc. So far as the basic puja paddhati is concerned, we offer basically 5 tattvas at the initial stages to any deity. Tattva means 5 elements. So we believe that 5 elements, water, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, these things have composed the whole universe. Along with that, there is also buddhi, your intelligence, then there is the ego, and then there are other tattvas also. Okay. So these things, of these 5 elements are the materialistic, the crux, the foundations on which the world that we live in, the physical world, is created. So whenever you are worshipping a deity, one of the basic pujas we do is that you offer a little bit of something that represents the Prithvi Tattva, which is the the earth element, then something that represents the Jal Tattva, something that represents the Agni Tattva when you're lighting a diya, something that represents the Vayu Tattva. Okay, when you're chanting a mantra, what is it? It's the air that is changing. Okay, and something that represents the Akash Tattva. Akash ke liye we offer a flower or something. So these are the 5 things. So basically you are telling the deity, all that I am, these 5 have been composed. I am surrendering everything onto you.
The earth would be like the kumkum or something.
Kumkum, exactly.
The powders.
Yes.
Okay.
And the Jal Tattva could be even a naivedyam, a food offering that you're giving to the deity, because it's made of water. things like that. So this is the broad idea.
The flowers represent the ether.
Yeah, flower represents the Akash Tattva. Akash is the among the tattvas, it is the most the elevated one, and elevated in the sense very subtle. It's not easy to reach the Akash Tattva, but anybody who practices will have to eventually reach and pass through the Akash Tattva.
Gotcha. Okay. This is a basic explanation of what a Hindu prayer ritual is,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
What we reference as puja.
Yeah. This is what we do as a puja. There are elaborate methods, but this is the basic one.
Okay. In an even more basic manner,
Hmm.
a lot of Hindus in the modern day will have a small temple in their house, or they might even have a small statue of a deity,
Correct.
light a diya next to it, keep an incense stick
Yes.
for a good fragrance around it, and just maybe not even know mantras but have their private prayer and just have a conversation with their deity. Is that also accepted in our faith?
Yes, that is accepted. So it is. There are two ways of doing it. One is that you do it in a proper manner, in by which if you do it in the as I mentioned. So these are the rules. If you don't follow the rules, it's not that somebody is going to come and beat you up or something like that. But what happens is that the energy that you are going to generate is going to be a bit haphazard. May take a bit more time to produce the correct result.
Got it.